What a time to be Jordan Love. Pressure mounting daily with the real possibility that Love starts game 1 of the 2021 season for the Packers against the Saints. You're looking at Love right there, back on the field at camp today. In a couple minutes, details on how he looked today. But first, Love spoke with the media for the first time since last August. He was asked if he's ready to go day 1. Here's what he said.
100%. Obviously, this is a time where I'm getting a lot of extremely valuable reps that I might not have been getting in a normal circumstance. So I'm going to take it day by day. And but yeah, that's what I'm here for. I was drafted here to play quarterback, so I'll definitely be ready week 1.
Adam Schefter, Dana Orlovsky here for the hour. Tim Hasselbeck moments away as well. Adam, we start with you. How is Love viewed within the organization at this point?
Well, Laura, he had a great day today. If you read the accounts from Rob Domofsky, our Packers beat writer, Jordan Love lit it up at practice today. And I think here's the issue. You're going to see everything that Jordan Love does at practice documented throughout the summer or until Aaron Rodgers does or doesn't get back there. Every move he makes will be incredibly scrutinized. We're going to be asking on a daily basis how the organization views him today, now, short-term, long-term, for this season. And so this is just part of the territory that comes with a very difficult assignment of being next in line after Aaron Rodgers, which in this case means playing and taking the snaps and reps with the ones at mandatory minicamp today and this week.
Dan, what do you think?
Yeah, I think first of all, it's important to understand for Jordan Love that this is a football team that is built to take on a young quarterback that is needing development. This is a football team that's got one of the best offensive lines in the game, a top 5 run game, a pretty diversified skill position group, one of the best receivers in football, and what they believe is a hopefully improving defense. So you're talking about a situation that, let's live in the world where Aaron Rodgers does not play for Green Bay. Jordan Love is not going to be tasked and or asked to do a ton of stuff. He's going to be more of the point guard to operate the offense and not have a lot of demand with a subpar roster. I think a lot of pressure falls on Matt LaFleur, their head coach and play caller, because, with Aaron Rodgers, Matt LaFleur was allowed to operate in a situation of strength, right? It's like talking to Usain Bolt about sprinting. You could talk about stride length and frequency and power and ankle flexion with a guy like that. But going to Jordan Love is like going to be talking about it with a newborn toddler that's just learning to walk. You're going to have to go back in time as a coach and go over the basics with him. And so the challenge is going to fall upon Matt LaFleur to figure out a way to communicate and teach Jordan Love, but also try to get somewhat similar results that Aaron Rodgers was able to get.
Yeah, Dan, a newborn toddler is a really big baby. Adam, I want to follow up on something that I think has been a conversation in the league because we've seen this have to happen recently in the Patriots situation. Replacing a legendary quarterback, it's so difficult to do. So let's say that's what happens with the Packers and they're having to replace Aaron Rodgers. What is the conversation around the league about how hard that is?
See, I always remember Bob Greasy, the Hall of Fame quarterback, saying before his son Brian took over for John Elway that you don't want to be the guy that takes over for a Hall of Fame quarterback. And if we go and look at the notable recent teams and what they've done, look at how difficult it is to do that job and take over for a Hall of Fame quarterback. Only one team over the last 20 years has gone to the playoffs. That was the Miami Dolphins that Jay Fiedler took to the playoffs. Look at the records of those teams that lost a Hall of Fame quarterback. And so yesterday, I said that the Packers would be one of the worst teams. Oh, look, here's the deal. With Aaron Rodgers, they're one of the best. Without him, they take a big drop because you see how difficult it is to replace a quarterback that great, of that stature. It impacts so much about your organization that, again, very few teams are able to overcome that in the season after, and some take years to get back to where they would like to be.
Yeah, Adam, to your point, we have to refer to history for a lot of this as a direction. Let's bring in Rob Domofsky live from Packers camp right now. And Rob, Adam mentioned it. Yesterday you're detailing some of the accuracy issues Love displayed. This is just a really dramatic saga here, particularly in the 2-minute drill. But how did Love look today?
Yeah, Laura, watch him one day and he looks like he's light years away from being ready. Watch him the next and it looks like he could start right now. Such were his first 2 days of minicamp. Yesterday, he struggled with accuracy and it was mostly checkdowns. Today, he was zipping the ball all over the place. He was throwing the ball down the field. How did he turn it around so quickly?
As a quarterback, in any position, you got to quickly hit that reset button. Certainly, you want to have success because, again, your confidence grows and it gives you, I guess, more confidence to go out there and be consistent and make those plays. But you got to treat every day as its own entity, and you can't rest on what you did the day before, whether it's good or bad. And that's what we're looking for from him. And I think he's done a nice job responding on a daily basis.
Love was so hot at one point in practice, hitting throws all over the place, that tight ends coach Justin Outen took his play card and started fanning Love off as if to cool him off. You heard him say that he would 100% be ready to play week 1 and be the starter at New Orleans. Well, days like today would make the Packers agree with that. But don't forget, tomorrow is a new day, the final day of mandatory minicamp.
Yeah, we'll find out what he does tomorrow from you, Robin. And that's what we do here on the show. If someone has a hot take, we just fan them off. We do that a lot to Dan Orlovsky. We got Tim Hasselbeck here as well. We got our 2 quarterbacks to talk about this. And the spotlight is going to be on Love, right? Day in and day out. Adam talked about it as we await Rodgers' decision here. But how much weight do you give Love's daily performance and these updates that we're getting, Tim?
I'm not riding the roller coaster. I'm not. Listen, if we want to look at, an OTA in its entirety, a mini camp, if you will, or if you want to look at a training camp in its entirety, or a preseason, where you're combining 4 games in its entirety, sure, fine. I don't think it is a good use of any of our time to evaluate without context of seeing the actual plays, knowing the situations that they might be practicing that day in practice, to make some type of judgment if Jordan Love is going to be ready or not based on individual practices. I think it's premature to do that. Really good quarterbacks have bad practices. Okay, now you string 15 of them together, maybe you have a problem. But the up and down of day to day, I think, is just way too premature. It's certainly what we're going to do, but I don't think it'll give us an indication over what type of quarterback he's actually going to be.
I would disagree with that. I think that we could put some weight, because these are huge practices and huge performances. Coming out of college, there was a lot of potential attached to Jordan Love, but the question mark was, well, he's got some accuracy issues. So then he's the first quarterback since 2005 last year that doesn't start as a first-round draft pick at the position. He's not even good enough in their eyes or ready enough to be the backup quarterback. And then he gets a first minicamp practice in the conversation as well. He looked inaccurate. Like, it's because, Tim, you know this. At some point, pads come on, and guys can come and try to split your face in half when you're getting hit. So it's only going to get harder. So I want to hear the conversation of his accuracy being good. I think for Jordan Love, it's not only important to get these X's and O's reps, it is important to get the reps of some success and failure. That's life in the NFL for quarterbacks. You're going to have good days, good games, bad days, and bad games. The more reps he gets in the situational football and handling it, the better off he will be if and when September comes and he's their guy.
Yeah, I do want to point out that yesterday was really the first day that he had a chance to work with some of the number 1 guys, and he didn't even get to work with all of them because even guys like Devontae Adams were off to the side. So I think that factors in as well. Let's get into some more news. Today, the Texans announced they will not have minicamp next week, as head coach David Culley says they got enough work done these past 4 weeks. All eyes remain still on quarterback Deshaun Watson, who has not been at the voluntary OTAs, was not expected to show up after asking for a trade in January and, of course, dealing with legal issues as well. Deshaun's former teammate and current Denver Broncos safety Kareem Jackson was on the Captain Fades with Aqib Talib, had this to say about Deshaun. I've got a great relationship with Deshaun. I've been talking to him these last couple weeks, and all he's been telling me is, look, Jack, just tell him that's where I want to be. I want to be in Denver. So again, Deshaun Watson, according to Kareem Jackson, saying he wants to be in Denver. Adam Schefter, what more can you tell us about the current situation with Watson?
Well, I hope that Kareem Jackson asked Deshaun Watson if he was okay saying that first. But aside from that,
Right.
we get past that and we look at all the moves that the Houston Texans made this offseason. And what they're telling you is they're not planning on having Deshaun Watson this season or maybe ever again. Again, as that investigation goes on in Houston, as the NFL's investigation goes on, as we wait to see whether or not there will be discipline in this particular case, the Texans have acted as if they cannot count on and are not preparing to have Deshaun Watson in the future. My understanding is, of course, that they will not sell him at a discount. They will not deal him at a discount. They will look to wait until his value is in full before they make a move with him. But just look at everything that they've done this offseason. They signed Tyrod Taylor. They drafted Davis Mills with their top pick, which wasn't until later in the draft, but it was still their very first pick in the upcoming or in the past NFL draft. And then they signed Jeff Driscoll, giving him $500,000 in guaranteed money. They've made enough moves at the quarterback position to tell you that they're making other plans. And I think when you talk to people around the league, they believe that the Texans will not just move on from Deshaun Watson, that they will wait until his value is almost back in whole before they make a move with him. But I think there's a league-wide assumption that Deshaun Watson very well may have played his last down with the Houston Texans.
Wow. And yeah, Adam, I mean, when you think about that, it's going to take time if that value can get back to where it would have been before. That takes a long time as this legal process has to work itself out. So, guys, Dan and Tim, this is a situation where the most important thing is figuring out the legal side of this, right? But let's say Deshaun Watson really has played his last down of football as a Texan. Dan, where makes sense for him to try and go, especially considering a large amount of time that we don't know how much that's even going to be before he could play again?
Yeah, the initial thought of the same teams that have been in the conversation for potentially Aaron Rodgers. Again, the Denver Broncos, the Las Vegas Raiders, and potentially the Miami Dolphins. And then the team that, if everything clears itself out, that I would keep an eye on because they need a now answer and a long-term answer would be the Washington football team, who again is in the NFC. If I was Houston, I would have the biggest desire, if I'm going to trade him, which I think they will, to get him to the NFC. And I think Washington is looking for their guy for the next decade.
Listen, Dan mentioned all the teams. I think that, listen, if we're going to put the legal stuff behind us, I mean, the fact of the matter is Deshaun Watson, a fantastic quarterback, and he's young and would make a lot of teams better. You know, I think that getting to that point, if you think back to the Texans' unwillingness to trade him prior to any of the off-field stuff, being brought to light, they weren't willing to do it then, and they certainly would have been looking for a massive amount of compensation. So if what Adam is saying is correct in that, they're going to wait for his value to rebound, look, this could take quite a while for Deshaun Watson.
And Tim, when they wait for his value to be restored, basically, it may not be till after the season. Again, let's see how all these cases turn out. Let's see how the discipline works out, if there is discipline, right? And then once you get past that, maybe next offseason, it'll be a full year. It could be that Deshaun Watson, nothing's decided on his future until then. But when we talk about where he would fit, again, I think we have the same discussion with Deshaun Watson that we did with Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers, and that's he would fit on 25 NFL teams. Almost everybody outside Kansas City, Buffalo, a team with a quarterback that it knows it's building around for years to come, should be reviewing that situation and making a determination about whether Deshaun Watson would or could be an upgrade over their particular current quarterback.
Yeah, and prior to the draft and everything that happened, a lot of those teams absolutely were, as Adam had reported. We got so much more coming your way on NFL Live as quarterback battles all around training camps this week. But find out why Trey Lance might already be in a better position than Jimmy G. We'll show you why he wins the job sooner rather than later. Plus, Brady tells you how he won a Super Bowl despite playing injured the entire season.